A very warm good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 169th session of Centa's webinar series for teachers. I hope all of you are keeping safe and staying healthy. The topic for today's webinar is building empathetic learners, and the facilitator for this session is Mr. Vijay B. Very good evening to you, sir. Mr. Vijay B is a passionate and determined math teacher with 10 years of experience who is currently positioned as math facilitator and school innovation coordinator at GT Aloha Vidya Mandir, Chennai. Welcome to you, sir. Before I hand over the session to the facilitator, I would like to inform all the teachers that they will receive participation certificates for the session. So please do fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you towards the end of the session. Over to you, sir. You can just share your screen, sir.
Happy evening to one and all present here. Myself B. Vijay, working as a math facilitator and a school innovation coordinator at GT Aloha Vidya Mandir. I heartily welcome one and all the teachers present here. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaga. Building empathetic learners is a need of the heart. Empathy, is it a word? Is it an emotion? Or is it a way of life? The answer depends, quite frankly, on the perspective of each individual approaching this important term. Let's all hear in detail why empathy is important and how it can be adopted and incorporated in the 21st century skills of our classroom, of today's classroom. What is empathy? What people think empathy is? Feeling sorry for someone. But what empathy actually is: understanding one's own feeling and emotions, supporting others who are in need, making people feel better about them, to treat others the way you want to be treated, to be able to exercise self control. Why is empathy important? It's the ability to understand feelings, emotions, and experiences. Seems normal, right? But something we experience every moment and each day of our life. Well, here's the catch. Empathy isn't understanding your own emotions. It is about understanding others. It's what makes us human. It is one of the important skills that can be practiced in life because it deals with a concern that others expect from you. Empathy also plays a major role in developing one's inner consciousness, which leads to success because it paves the way of one's understanding and caring of all of God's creation. Now, do you feel that animals have empathy? So, what you have seen is, do animals feel empathy? Yes. So, we also agree. Do you all agree, my dear participants? You can chat in the private chat. Have you all have experienced seeing animals feel empathy? You have pet dogs, cats. Any evidences for it? Have you all witnessed? You can share with me in private chat. Asha ma'am, any answer from the participants?
Yes, sir. They are telling yes, definitely. Sir, are you able to
Share your
hear me?
experience.
Yeah, so many
Yes, ma'am.
people are
Yes, ma'am.
telling they agree, and they are telling yes, they do, yes, yes, yes.
Yes. So can you at least give one line that what is your experience about how do animals feel empathy? How do you recognize any experience you would like to share? I'll give 1 minute for sharing. Because many would have um, gone through with more pets, have cats, have dogs, even what to say, cows. Even I had cows in my home, and when somebody is in grief or some bad mood, we can see the tears from them. Yes. So recently, a news called a man who passed away, who feeded the monkeys. That one monkey came for this last funeral, and it was there till the last moment. So animals have empathy. What about us? Yes. Now let's dive into the topic called types of empathy. Psychologists have identified the three major classifications of empathy. That is cognitive empathy. What is what is cognitive? That means it comes from the brain. So you can see a low affective empathy versus high affective empathy in your manager leader and the friendly leader, and an effective leader and an emotional leader. So you can see the difference. What is cognitive empathy? It's also known as perspective taking. Not only really what most of would think of as empathy at all. It is basically aiming to put yourself in someone else's place and seeing their perspective. What is second empathy? Which is compassionate. Yes, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. This is a famous quote. So compassion is equal to empathy minus beyond. That gives you a friendship. What is compassion? It's all about what we understand by empathy, feeling someone's pain and taking action to help. The name compassionate empathy is consistent when we see the definition, but what we actually understand by compassion. It's about feeling concern for someone, but with an additional move towards action to mitigate the problem. Compassionate empathy is a type of empathy that is usually most appropriate with links with the general rule. People who want or need your empathy don't just need you to understand, but they certainly don't need you to feel their pain or worse, to burst into tears alongside them. That is emotional empathy. So they need you to understand and sympathize with what they are going through and actually either take or help them to take action to resolve the problem, which is compassionate empathy. Next comes our emotional. Always we become emotional when something goes beyond our limit. Emotional empathy makes us feel what is somebody else is feeling. Emotional intelligence. Nowadays, research says emotional intelligence is very low for young students in 21st century. What is about that? Emotional empathy is when you quite literally feel that other person's emotions alongside them, and when they you caught their emotions. It's also known as personal distress or emotional contagion. This is closer to the usual understanding of the word empathy, but more emotional. It is good because it means that we can readily understand and feel the other people's emotions. It is very vital in all the professions such as doctors, nurses, teachers, patients, and so on. Because they are feeling distressed, we are also solving their problem. But emotional empathy is bad because it becomes overwhelmed by those emotions and we cannot able to respond. So this is known as empathy overload. Particularly, it affects the self-control of a person. So managing their emotional empathy is becoming very difficult nowadays. Now comes need of the hour. Why is teaching empathy important? My dear participants, you can give your answers. Why is teaching empathy important? Because the role of empathy in learning is very significant because it helps students to understand and connect with the material what they are learning to. Do you all agree? I hope you all agree with my point. It allows students to step into the someone else's shoes and see the world from their perspective. This can be helpful in subjects like history, social science, geography, science, math, whatever they understand as conceptual understanding behind historical events too. Even the origin of pi, origin of circles perimeter, empathy can be involved, how they have found out without any technological advancement. Additionally, empathy can help students to connect with people with different cultures and backgrounds, which can be valuable in a global society where we are living in. In order to learn effectively, students must be able to understand and feel what it is like to be in another person's shoes. This is where empathy comes in. It allows students to see the world from another person's perspective and develop compassion for others. which is a need of the hour. So it's a vital component of social emotional learning, which can be blended with building relationships, communication building, and resolving conflicts. So I have, which is very important, what to say to show empathy to your students. How will you say that you show empathy to your students? Can participants open up with this question? What to say to show empathy to your students? So as a teacher, how would you respond, or how would you question your student that you show empathy? Is there any questions from the side? Asha ma'am.
Yes, sir. Martha ma'am is asking, would
Are participants actively participating? Yes.
yeah, Martha ma'am is asking, would honest communication and stronger concern for one another will be able to help peers? That's what she says.
Yes, absolutely. So my question
And
is, what to say
Kepiti,
to show empathy to your students? Yes. So how do you
Ma'am is
prove that
also
you are
telling,
showing empathy? Yes. Yes. Now, everyone in our class will get what he or she wants. This can be asked to show empathy to your students. Number two, which activity do you like to do first? So you can give the freedom or liberty to them by asking this. Next, this question can be asked. I can tell you are feeling upset. Would you like to take a break before we speak about what happened? Would you want a break? Please go to your restroom and wash your face and come. We would have recovered this experience. Yes or no? Yes. Then this can be asked. I noticed that you are having a hard time focused. Is there anything you want to share with me or anything to talk about it? You can share with me. As a friend, we can ask this question. It looks like you are feeling down. Is there something I can help you with? Yes. What do you need to able to do your best work? My help. Or how to guide you? Tell me where you are lagging. That can be asked whether you are showing empathy to your students so they can really feel proud of you and they can open up. How are you really doing today? How are you today? It's a wonderful question by Jeff Keller. How are you today? There are three types of people, which is very important. How are you today, my dear participants? When I ask you, how are you today? What do you respond? You can put in a chat box. How are you today? I am good. I am fine. It's looking mediocre, right? How are you? I'm fantabulous. I'm doing great. I'm living my own life. It's my life. I'm living it up to it. So how it is? It is optimistic, right? How are you? I am bored. I'm dull. I'm not good. This is a pessimistic answers. When somebody asks you how are you, that energy comes within boosting up and says your optimistic answer. But what might be your honest answer? You're not feeling well at the end of the day. But when you ask to a teacher or when you ask to your parent, how are you? I'm superb with God's grace, or I am superb with my wishes and ambitions proceeding further. Yes, my dear participants, I hope you all agree with me. So, what are you really doing today? The question which really changed the overall ambience of the class. What do you need to make sure you have a great day? So, what do you need in now for the next 8 hours? What do you need from my side so that the day went on productive? Yes, yes. So, what the behaviors to avoid when when showing empathy to your class students? First one, judging. You need not judge about them, prior conclusions about them. Something had happened before. So with that mood, you cannot ask. A new day have started. So with that judgmental, throw it away with a smile in your face, and you proceed with the class. And criticizing, yes, comparing one between other, and criticizing or pointing out some points which happened in the past, that you need to avoid when you started showing empathy. Yes, lecture method, if you use them, our students are, because our students of 21st century do not like this lecture method at all. Next one, advising. Yes, we do agree because we don't like advice from our parents. Next, interrupting. When they are sharing something, have their own time. Give their time to speak. When they are concluded, then you can give your views or points or something related to it. So these are all the behaviors to avoid when you start showing empathy. So what are benefits of being empathetic as a teacher? When we are empathetic towards our children, or the children are empathetic towards their peer members, what are the benefits? Yes, of course, it's like a pearl which is very valuable. Increased class engagement. You can have your class engaged productively, all your eyes shooted up upon you with a focused and deterministic way. Better communication skills. Yes, communication gap will not be there, and communication will be in a higher end, and they all will be focusing on you. Yes, if they have anything, they feel free to speak. That's most important in the 21st century skills or 21st century classroom. Higher academic achievement. Yes, they sort out more doubts what they have, and where they can ask you doubts, because if I ask, oh ma'am or sir will scold me, that intention is not there in the class. So being empathetic, what question is that? That question will be valuable for us to learn as a teacher. As a lifelong learner, we can always accept questions. Less aggressive personality. Yes, those who are hyperactive and those who are very rude, their aggressiveness comes down, because when we give our ears to them also to speak, we don't label them. So these are all the benefits of being empathetic. Next, we can increase our positive relationships. That's very important. At the end of the day, life is inevitable and short, a brief life. And how we are maintaining a relationship positively is an important, and being that too in a classroom or a four-wall classroom, that's very important. I hope you all agree with me. So these are all the benefits. More than these benefits, can anyone can you can put in your chat box, what are the benefits of being empathetic? Yes, Asha ma'am, are the uh, applicants or the
Yes,
participants responding?
Jayashree ma'am. Yeah, Jayashree ma'am is telling learning outcomes achieved. And many of them are telling true. Whatever you have explained them, it is true. And Manju ma'am is
Yes,
telling
ma'am.
you will concentrate more. And the teachers are
Yes,
agreeing with your points, sir, with the benefits of being empathetic. Yeah.
yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So now let's see 6 strategies to practice empathy in classroom. It's very important. What are the 6 strategies to practice empathy in classroom? So you all have crossed in your life your best teacher. When I say a best teacher, what you will say? A teacher which made a remarkable changes or a uniqueness in that teacher, which made impressed you or inspired you to take this as a profession. Yes, so we are teachers not only because of it's a job, it's our passion. We breathe teaching. Yes, otherwise we are not dropped here. Am I right, participant? Yes, I hope you all will agree with this, because from the day one or from the starting of the day till the end, it's all about learning. We all faced more experiences rather than more what to say, everything is a learning for us. Yes, what are the 6 strategies to practice empathy in classroom? I have 6 strategies. Number one, listen carefully. What to listen carefully? You have to listen actively with your express your active interest in what your students are saying. Make them feel heard. Avoid being distracted by other things, and don't immediately try to fix the problem. When some children will ask, ma'am, what is the capital? Then you will say, "Oh, capital of India, it's Delhi." So you'll fix the problem. Do not fix that. You understand the problem. You can talk to them, the students, about finding solutions. In math especially, when they see a big problem in linear equations in two variables, that's all they are. They'll fed up. How to read the problem? The solution is there always in the problem. Given what is to prove and what is to find a solution, then they will know what are the steps to be followed. Next one. Can anyone say what is this? Yes, withhold your judgment. Don't make immediate judgments of right or wrong or anything. Set aside your own reactions on, set aside your own conclusions what you're asking. It can be a different, and focus on listening to your students. Then your classroom will be a fantastic and fabulous one in their life. Next one is be understandable. Try to understand their students' feelings with their face. If you can, look at your own experiences to find a way to connect with what your students are feeling. You can share your positive way, or you can share your negativity present in your life as a positive one, so that they will do not, that they will not be repeated in their life also. So try to put yourself in their shoes and give some time, or take your own time about what they maybe felt the same way. So be understandable. Fourth one, what to say? Show your body language, which is very important. Empathetic body language. Empathy is not expressed by, not just by words, or not by just by facial expressions or postures, on tone of voice. All makes a major difference. Is your posture open, or you being approachable as a leader, or your eyes focused on them, or you speaking in a positive tone? The tonality of the tone depends upon the time in which you are in, if in your communication. So body language plays a major role in building empathy in your classroom. Next, fifth one is practice mindfulness. You be aware of your students' behavior, and when is it crucial, or when it is calm, see and act accordingly. Because practicing mindfulness will help them to take the perspectives of other people. Make them to be in silence for 2 minutes. Close their eyes, and 2 minutes for silence will give them the focus and to how to distract over their distractions and mindfulness, and that will give you a good ambience for the setting up of the class. Last but not the least, what, why, how, when, five questions. Ask open-ended questions. When you ask open-ended questions, you will get really fantastic answers. I do have experienced with that. So this answers I have not experienced. Every year I can experience more answers or more questions for us one question. So when you ask open-ended questions, students really share what really in their mind. That will be positive or that will be negative. That depends upon the question, and they will open up more as opposed to asking them yes or no question. So rather than asking yes or no question or MCQs, ask them open-ended question that will give their brief mind in words. That will be fantastic. So the key six strategies to teach empathy, or to learn to inculcate empathy in the classroom, you have learned. Before going into it, I have key strategies to teach children empathy. How to teach children? You can have many activities, like I'm going to tell you. Please make a note of it. You can ask them describe and label activity. What is meant by describe and label? It helps children to recognize their emotions and body. You describe yourself now. Now, how are you? And you can use anything as a label. So you are stomped your feet, or you seem angry, you bet somebody. So describe and label. That activity can be done once in a week. Next one, you can read stories. You can give them a value based story, or to discuss about the character's feelings. You can ask them, this character, what is the feeling according to you? Because it differs from person to person. Yes. Next, form a we care center. We care center in your classroom. That their talents can be expressed in that. We do care your positivity or optimism present in you. Each one have their unique talent. Someone can write poems, someone can draw pictures, they can paint, they can scribble, they can do pottery making, whatever may be. At BCAS Center, in that you can represent and you can appreciate them, and especially coach their social skills, which is very, very important. Socialization is a need of the hour, because student doesn't open up and they don't know. Because a topper in my class, doesn't know to socialize themselves, which is very very needed, and to reach their altitudes, and socialization skills are very needed, and you can coach them, or you can guide them through a book or through some activities. You can coach their social skills. Or newspapers cut out pictures from magazines or newspapers, and you can show them these are the happy faces, sad faces, and angry faces, and this is how, when you see this, what do you feel, what comes into your mind, right, in one line. Jam session, just a minute session you can conduct, so that you can bring in the young minds or communication together. Next, embrace diversity. What is embracing diversity? It really helps children to understand what they have common in, which is overlapping. Which color do you like the most, or from which place I am coming from, or which food I like. So embrace diversity among the children who are living for 1 year in the class, and you can guide them by observe others, peer observation. So one-to-one observation, like peer observation, you can ask your friend to observe somebody else, or somebody one another student to observe on somebody. Why? Note the body language of others and guess how they might be feeling, and how might you feel in that situation. Note it down, make a record of it, and by observing, really you will learn a lot. Next, teach about healthy limits and their own boundaries. Their own boundaries, very very important in today's life. The healthy limits, and um, how to have a eyesight, or how to have your face your peer member, how to speak to them, and with what mode, what is your body language, everything that counts. And you can engage them with high level discussions about some book characters, and you can practice meditation to bring kindness in the class once in a while. You can engage them in cooperative puzzles, sudokos, or they will also have what to say, Rubik cubes. They will do some board games. You can ask them to involve, and
Excuse
you
me,
have to
sir. We are not.
indulge in creating empathy maps. What is an empathy
Uh,
map?
Sir, please change the
Yes,
next
ma'am.
slide, sir. We are able to see only this. Listen carefully. That six
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
strategies.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm only speaking with that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So create empathy maps. What is an empathy map actually? To choose an emotion, then brainstorm what you might see, or might what you feel in that way, that you describe in a pictorial representation, that is called as an empathy map. In that you will discuss current events, you will encourage the child to choose which work you need, where you are positive in, where your talent lies, or where to motivate, what are the areas of appreciation, what are the areas of improvisation, like that you can give. And last but not the least strategy to follow in your class is walk the line activity. What is it, walk the line activity? Which is pretty perfect for classrooms with uh, who are reached adolescents, about for example from class 8 to 12. You're going to a visit, or what you're observed other places, or with a larger group of old children or teens. What did you observe? What was your observation? So in that, all the observations you can overlap, and you can tell the uniqueness of each one's report, and that will help them to know and to understand more about their peer members. And how to begin empathy mapping. Now I'm going to tell you how to begin an empathy mapping. How do you think and feel? What really matters? What are your worries and aspirations? Like this table or column, you can note it down. And this is a person's photograph. This is a small sheet of paper in which a photograph, or your name you can write here. Think and feel what really matters, your worries or aspirations. In that you can fill it here, backside of it. Okay. Now, what do you see? Your environment, what social media, websites, magazines, what the market offers, everything what you see, some specific things what you saw in the past moments or past days, that you can write down in this. So you can fold it like this, a rectangular sheet. You can fold it like this, four diagonally, and you can ask them to write like this. Say and do. What is an appearance? What is an attitude in public? What you say and do? You, after observing your friend, you will write this and you give that. So this is called as an empathy mapping. So creative empathy mapping is relatively simple once you gather pertinent informations about your students. This may include your goals, their hobbies, their interest, their areas of academic, positives, negatives, their career goals and social needs, as well as the data from assessments. But least you focus on assessments, rather these are all, it will be like a journal. So traditional ways we used to post letters to our friends, how we collect the information from our students through polls, surveys, and looking at the students' work or anecdotal records, the reflectional journals or essays, or discussions. The knowledge about our students can be gleaned in a classroom discussions aimed at checking their and how to build a positive rapport, how to pay attention to what they care about it, and how to recognize their abilities in how they transfer learning outcomes in their future education and transformation of knowledge. So now next comes here what friends say, what family say, what your boss or a leader or peer says, what influencer says about them. So you're collecting about the information about a person, for example Mr. Vijay, for example. Now, what are the pains? What are the fears? What are the frustrations? What are the obstacles, moments, what you observed on them? And what are the gains? What are the wants? What are the needs of the person? Or how do you measure of success or goals of the person? So this is a small description about an empathy map. This empathy map provides the following benefits. What are the benefits about them? Because additional opportunities you're making a classroom more instructional based rather than decision based, because you're following on the decision based and true need of the students. Weekly once get the feedback from your students and make the valuable and needful change. A better understanding of students and their life and academic circumstances, their experiences, their explorations, all registered in it. Student information pertinently in one visual reference will not have a will have a better and a wider meaning for the candidate. And callouts of key insights gleaned from data of research, you can appreciate them, you can overlap them with that, and you can make a areas of appreciation or some stars, or you can award some star of the day or star of the week, like that. An equity based collaborative tool, that is an empathy map for teachers and other stakeholders who interact with the same students, which is very helpful for the system to be diversity, equity, and inclusion practices to be brought in today's mind. And empathy, the awareness of the feelings of others. Be genuinely curious about others. Imagine yourself other shoes. These are all the various definitions of empathy. Be an attentive listener. Discover the similarities in them. Share who you are. Validate others' feelings. Very important in current day's life. Empathy is about standing in someone else's shoes, feeling with his or her heart, seeing with his or her eyes. Not only is empathy hard to outsource and automate, but it makes the world a better place. There is a nobility in compassion, a beauty in empathy, a grace in forgiveness, says an Irish writer, John Connolly. As rightly mentioned, putting yourself in someone's shoes not only brings change in an individual, but also brings a quality of forgiving, leading to a positive and successful ambience for those we wish to achieve. To conclude, opportunities in this world are ample around us. And how are we approaching it solely lies in an individual and also in the mindset of acceptance and the level of confidence you possess. Ultimately, the final goal of every living being is to lead a happy and a contentful and a joyful life. To reach that state, one has to know the value of joy in mastery, key to collaborate rather to compete, the gift of giving ourselves and themselves and their purpose to this world in order to lead a joyful, and a contented life. Lastly, the potential to achieve what brings us the wildest smiles is present in us, in all of us. But we achieve it surely lies in each of us being empathetic to every creation of our Creator. Thanks for the opportunity given, and thank you so much for giving an opportunity to share my views about empathy, which is needed for the art. My dear participants, now it's open to you to ask your questions or your views about empathy and what you feel. You can share it for it.
Sir, we'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes, sir.
Yes, Asha ma'am. Yes, some questions you can ask, uh, or you can share your experiences about how you bring in empathy in the classroom. My dear participants, kindly open up your views and suggestions and your experiences, values are more important for me and for all of us. Let's all have a discussion about how to bring in empathy in the classroom and what are all your experiences and any questions I left out, you can answer.
Sir, Meena ma'am is asking what are the main components to make empathy map?
Yes. So what I said is to make an empathy map. Um, about the goals, about the do's, about the wants, about their needs, about their observation, about what they see, about what they hear, about what they speak. Everything you form a in a rectangular sheet, and that will be called as an empathy map, and that will really work out for each and every student to have a or to say to determine where they stand in and how to proceed further with their career goals and so on. So the basic components of empathy map is about what they see, what they think, and what is being given as a words in classes. By mere observance, it will come.
Thank you for the reply, sir. Jaspreet ma'am is asking in how many, sir. Yeah, Arpita ma'am is asking nowadays is it say good or safe to show interest in what is happening in others' life?
Yes, actually, it depends upon this question is valid, wonderful question. Thank you, ma'am. Sharing what has happened in our life, it depends upon the situation actually, and depends upon the value what you have and how what value you're going to inculcate. So depends upon the situation really, and it's fully 50% I'll say good and 50% bad. It's like a cat on the wall, and fully if you say you need not convey whatever you feel and whatever you have in your mind and what can be done in that situation. Kindly respond to it and kindly move on.
Thank you for the reply, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions from participants or any your experiences you can share? You're most welcome.
I think we need to give a few more minutes for them to come back with the questions, sir. We'll wait for
Yes, ma'am,
them.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, ma'am, it's a wide topic, ma'am, because we'll full day. It's not enough for us to talk
yeah,
finish.
yeah, 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 yeah. Sir, Ketaki ma'am is asking, how do we exercise empathy with ourselves?
Yes, absolutely. Wonderful question, ma'am. Thank you so much. Self empathy, that's very important where we are standing in. It's a self assessment. So, how we are standing in and the major changes, what are all the positives in us, and how we are transformed from last year to this year. Last year what was the same time what we did, and now what where we are in, and what are the changes we made in our classroom, how our students feel. So that is all about our activity on how what and all our performance in the class. That really matters a lot. And with that, we can have a self assessment tool, so that you can have our self assessment with the empathy map about what we saw and what we observe and our students everything. But that alone, it's not depend on a self actualization need, but to say, it's about the inner consciousness and doing inner in our engineering ourselves, so that our mind where is transforming, and how we are not distracting, and how we are presentable, and what qualities we possess when we are angry. So when you be angry, that time our we will show our most beautiful face, yes or no? We'll be angry at the time. So that time being calm and gentle and closing our mouth when we are angry, that time we can test ourselves with more strategies like this. And that will have you create a mindset, so that you can come across with how to respond to the situation you are lying in. I hope I have answered.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Mary ma'am is asking, how
Thank
can
you.
teachers improve empathy?
Yes, so teachers' role plays a major role. Teachers' shoulders plays a major role in delivering empathy and teaching empathy to young students, because they don't know. They are born in a flat oriented culture where no, none of them have any socialization pattern, and they don't have their grandparents explain what is life is, and what do we as a teacher, because they are staying there in our classroom for a longer time. As a teacher, for a few minutes we can spend, and we have to observe them, we have to mold them in such a way that they are all empathetical. We have to show them that we are caring about them. So we really care about them. We will give time for them to ask questions, and to interact with us, and they can take a in free time. They can ask us their our suggestions on some difficult problems or some higher order thinking skills. They can come and ask. That freedom if you give, surely the students feel empathy, and our teaching life will be a smoother one.
Thank you for the reply, sir. There is another question by one of the teachers. Can you please give
Yes.
an idea to make it a regular feature in class? As we can't give one child all the attention with the problem arises when the problem arises.
Yes. What type of problem they ask? Because problem arises when there is a problem, there will be a solution absolutely. And particular feature is like optimism corner, the wall of reflection wall you can allocate in the notice board, or the star of the week. Like that, you can motivate them, so that to because there are students, 600 700 students are all very eager to win that stars. And to get that into the practice, you can every week I will observe who's the inspiration, or who's the innovation of the week, who's the mr or miss unique talent of the week. Like that, you can give some titles for them, and that really putting in the notice board, that really motivates them. And that has been nowadays, as a teacher, if you call their name, because when we were in school days, we will be eagerly waiting for our teacher to spell out our name. How we will be waiting eagerly, right? You all agree with me? So when my master will call me Vijay, that time will soon will get up, and we will respond to the answers. We'll go to the board. But nowadays, teachers have to call the names, memorize the names, and we if we call them the names, that itself is more giving importance. Oh, sir or teacher is calling by your name, so they know me, so they are notifying me. So that sense, if comes, you can easily what to say transform this education in a very very delicate way. And that is more important nowadays also, because 2 years we were in online teaching, their cameras are off, but nowadays they're all present in the class, then also they are masked. So you can then also we cannot find out their facial expressions. You can ask them to remove the mask and you can ask a question, that time how they respond. So like that you can really judge, and that can be recorded in your as an observation. At the end of the day, every teacher should do a reflection, self-reflection, and this child, what does it respond, and this question, for this question, how it respond. So where we have to mold. So commonly we can mold every week. So individually, if you point out names, that is that looks very odd, and that is not advisable also. So that really hurts each one. And commonly, if the common addressal, if we do it, and surely it will be manageable one.
Thank you for the excellent answer, sir. Manju ma'am is
Thank you,
asking
ma'am.
how we can inculcate empathy with the primary children, as that's the beginning.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So you can use describe and label method. You can ask them to read stories, and you can ask them to have a voice care center that I already mentioned about, and you can have your emotions and you paste it in the wall, and which emotion you are in. You can ask them, and individually you can ask them to. You can whoever so that they can have their balance school life or balance a day productive. And that is what it is.
Thank you for the reply, sir. One more question from Katie ma'am. How to apply this empathy in general or other than our job? Uh, Other
No,
than our
other
job. Yes.
no, yes, yes. So teaching empathy is very important, and we cannot term them as an empathy class or empathy hour like that. You can inculcate this habit in the class in general. You have to mingle that this concept with the teaching methodology or pedagogical process. So particularly one period we add those days as value education or moral stories like that. But nowadays we don't get it. We don't need also, because if you give lectures on moral stories, they don't like it. You have to inculcate in some situation arises automatically. Take that situation as that opportunity and give 1 minute of hearing to it and give the solution then and there. Then you go to the class. So that will give you the strong foundation, and your concepts will be delivered in a strong and what to say, in a higher end, if they listen to it. Ensure that all are listening to it.
Thank you for the reply, sir. Rachana ma'am is asking, sometimes being too empathetic makes you disturbed. How to keep our emotions stable?
Yes, absolutely wonderful question, ma'am. Thank you so much for this question. I do have experience. Yes, when we are in our their shoes, what they do they take more over advantage, and they cross the limit. They try to cross the limit. So as a teacher, we have to have our boundary and the limit, and that is important. And they take over advantage. Yes, I do experienced it, and that is on the from the primary stage. If we inculcate them, this is how you approach your teacher, approach your peer member, how to approach what to say your friend or your mother. It's a difference. They're all about a different relationship. So making a borderline in between this is a tough task as a teacher, because but also a prime role lies in us, and we have to do the best. And not so empathetical about that, but showing them that you're empathetical really do wonders in your class.
Thank you for the reply, sir. Martha ma'am is asking, how will you guide the ones who lack empathy for others?
Yes, absolutely. In general only you have to speak in general, or one-to-one counseling or one-to-one personal attention, and you have to speak with them, but not pointing out in the whole, not pointing out or not calling that buddy some student in front of everybody and speaking with them, no. So what to say, in the due observance, during any meeting or any week 1 hour or PT period like that, you can speak to them. This is what I observed. This, you are very you're not asking your friend to tie your lace shoes, or your water tap and you're going. So these are all some common and issues I have faced. So this need not to be done like this. So which is very important. So address the issue in general. That will really get some what to say, gentle respect in you, and next time that change will happen, sure.
Thank you for the reply, sir. Anuradha ma'am is asking, is it right to ask children about their emotions?
No, though emotions, actually, how you are feeling today. So young, small children, but 9th standard, 10th standard, you cannot ask them, because their emotions, what to say, every day differs, and they are not in a mood to study at all. So like that. So classroom is a place where transformation of knowledge happens. Then also what life is, they have to learn. So when they are learning, how they are learning and how they are approaching with their how they are socialized and how networking they are involved in is very important. As a teacher, we have to do, because in 45 minutes we have to cover the concepts, we have to check whether they have done their homework, their assignments have been done, their classworks have been brought, and neatness, punctuality, everything we need to say. And yes, it's a difficult task, and I do agree, but we have to manage our show, and we have taken this profession as a passion, and we will manage to do it up to our some limit. We can do it to our extent, we can do it, and we can make themselves to understand. And once they reach 8th standard, 9th standard like that, and they will be enough to handle situations, and they will respond accordingly.
Thank you for the excellent answer, sir. Mary ma'am is
Thank you, ma'am.
asking, she is an ESOL facilitator in 21K school, India's first online school. She has seen empathy throughout in the class, but the facilitator has to lead by example. So, what are your thoughts on it? She wants to know about this question.
Ma'am, please come again, ma'am. Your voice was breaking, ma'am.
Yeah, Mary ma'am is an ESOL facilitator in 21K school, India's first online school. She has been empathy
Okay.
throughout. She has seen empathy throughout the class, but the facilitator has to lead by example. So, what are the thoughts? What are your thoughts on this thing, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely. Setting an example and leading as an example is a very, very important role of a teacher. As a teacher, we have to set an example, and we have to, they have to be, what to say, an inspiration for many, and inspire many lives along their way. Yes, I do agree, because setting an example ourselves is more important rather than being empathetical to others and teaching empathy. And if we practice empathy in ourselves as an online teaching, but I do salute that ma'am who's a teacher in online. That too very difficult, because to identify their facial expression, their body language is very difficult in camera. But they all she has achieved that, and she's a EOSL facilitator also. Very happy to get it, ma'am. But my important point is setting an example is very important as a teacher.
Thank you for the reply, sir. Deepti ma'am is asking, my son loves his younger brother, but he is not empathetic towards him. Kindly give suggestions.
Very good.
How can I handle him? He is 14 years old.
Wow, wonderful. I think 14 years is ninth standard, and is loving his younger brother, but doesn't show empathetical. Yes, so it's always in brothers relationship. We used to get this issue, and what to say. small kids are kids always, and 14 years kid also is in the transitional stage, where now only has crossed his adolescence. Yes. And more bodily changes and hormonal changes, and more academics rise, and more he has to learn. Then also peer pressure, and more extracurricular activities he or she has to go. And the more everything there, that time the small kid is going to disturb like that, and this fellow is emotional, and he will start beating or hitting or like that. As a mother, because I also have a brother. I love him actually, but more problems will come when he grows up. Build a strong relationship between a brother as a mother, who act as a bridge between both the sons, because both the sons are very equivalently important, and mother considered. And what that fellow feels, oh, my mom is giving priority to only brother. Brother feels my mom only giving priority to elder brother. Yes. This is a major issue, and I really suggest you to maintain some small distances between them. Engage them productively, both of them. And then weekend you can involve them in on some games or something, so that they come into a good or positive relationship. Thank you, Asha ma'am, for thank you
Yeah,
all the
thank you.
participants for asking wonderful question and making my day wonderful, because always questions or make us more enlightened, make our class more valuable. And as a participant, as a teacher, grooming teachers is always a fantabulous experience I had in my life. And thank you for the opportunity, Center team, for fixing this show 2 months before in prior, and communication, everything. Thank you so much, Arsha ma'am. And thanks
Thank
for the
you,
GT
Vijay
group
sir,
of
for
institution. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you,
Thank you,
sir,
my dear
for your
my respected principal. Yeah, my principal, my aides, my students, my teachers, all who have cooperated and to take this show wonderful. And let's meet in future with in an interesting and a need of the art topic.
Thank you, Vijay sir, for a very engaging and informative session for our community of teachers. I'm sure that our teachers have got a lot and lot of takeaways from this session. Thank you so much, all the participants, for engaging with us today. To register for more such upcoming webinars, please visit my center. Thank you, Vijay sir, once again.